I've learned that so much about myself the past week. I've learned that sometimes we get so caught up in what we're missing, what we don't have, what we need, that we miss what we have, the things that we already have obtained, and most importantly, the God that we have. God is great. He's the only one that can save us. He is and always will be God Himself. He has brought me a long way, but I always manage to fall flat on my face. And I just realized why. Because I was chasing after idols that He abhors. He hates idols, and my idols have been in men. The reason for that is because I was brought up in an abusive household. I was brought up, my stepmother was abusive. She was a drunk. My dad worked long hours and he was into his women. He wasn't always around. So I used to get abused a lot by my stepmom, to the point that I almost committed suicide at a very young age. I had to be like 10. Who thinks about suicide at 10? But after that, I just developed a pattern of being rebellious and getting into things that I shouldn't have. I had boyfriends at a young age. I used to cut school. I lived in New York, but that doesn't mean anything. I was trying to show my rebellion in a different way. I ran away from home a couple times, several times. And God just revealed to me why I've been the way that I am. I mean, we're born with a sinful nature, that's a fact. Our flesh is going to lean towards a sinful nature until we actually meet Jesus, until we actually get to know God. And being that I was brought up in such a bad environment, I didn't get to know God until I was about 22 years old, 23 maybe. I'm 28 now. And when I first met God, it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever encountered. I can't explain the feeling, but I felt so good. There's nothing better than to be in the presence of God. But I became bitter in my walk with God because I met a man who I idolized because I thought he was so amazing. Which he's pretty cool. He's pretty awesome in his own ways, but he ended up being a player. He played me like I can't even tell you the way that he played me. He played me from the beginning of the relationship to the end, and we were together on and off for about 3 years. And, well, like 2.5. And that made me very bitter and very angry and resentful. And I fell. And I started to do things. I started to drink. I started to just feel lonely and do things that I shouldn't be doing, which only made me more depressed. And I did not seek God. I did not read my word like I used to. Nothing. I mean, I used to go to church here and there, but there was always a void. I didn't feel complete. I didn't feel His presence. And sometimes I would start over and try to do things I used to do, but I never got to where I needed to be. And right now, I just went through a tough time. Almost similar situation, but with my child's father. And I fell flat on my face. God is our stronghold. He's our rock. He's our foundation. Without Him, we're nothing. And I realize with fasting and prayer and with him actually opening up my eyes that I've been seeking this love to fill the void that's been in my heart for so long. I've been seeking this attention from the wrong places and the wrong people that only he can give us. God loves us unconditionally. He is merciful and graceful. He's willing to forgive us each and every time. As long as we seek him wholeheartedly, he will be right there with us. He will never leave us nor forsake us. God is truly amazing. And if you don't know God, you need to get on it. You need to seek him, for he is the only way. He wants us to depend on him and not depend on other people, because people fail us, but he doesn't. He never fails us. God is faithful. I've been emotionally dependent on other people because my emotions haven't been met. My expectations haven't been met, which has left me emotionally depressed. And now that I'm back in the Word and I'm seeking him, I feel so good. I don't feel that loneliness. I don't feel that emptiness. I feel great. I only need him. I feel like I only need him. And that is pretty much the truth. I mean, he created us to have relationships. He created us to have families. But we have a purpose in this world, is to glorify God through our lives. We have to glorify him by the way that we live, by the way that we walk, by the way that we interact, by who we are. And I know now that no one can understand me like he does. No one can love me like he does. No one will appreciate me like he does, because we were fearfully and wonderfully made, if you didn't know that. And our insecurities will fade away in him once we're with him. And I've been so insecure because of the cheating and the things that I've been through in life and the things that I put myself through as well, because I'm very much as guilty as the ones that have done it to me, because I put myself in that situation. And I allowed it because God gave me a spirit of discernment, and sometimes he tells us don't go there, and it's like him telling us go straight. Just keep going, because nothing's gonna happen. But he's telling us don't go there, and we just keep going like we have no sense. And it's good to get to know God. It's good to get to understand him and to listen to him and be obedient to him, because he won't move if you're not obedient. You have to be obedient and listen. You have to listen to him, because he does speak. You may not hear him with this loud voice, but he whispers to us in different ways. He talks to us through people, through messages, he talks to us in so many different ways. We just have to be vigilant and aware of what's going on. He is the only one that knows our hearts, our motives. Everyone around you can think that you're fake. Meanwhile, you do things with good intentions, and they might not see it that way. They might see it that you're fake or call you this and that. But God knows our motives. And as long as your motives are good, you can count on him. You can count on him being there and delivering you when you need deliverance. God is faithful. And he has taught me so much about myself in the past week that is crazy. But that is all. Just seek him with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight.